Hello, everyone. Welcome along to your Monday night Rangers Rabble Women show. I'm Brian, and Wolf and Cara have joined me tonight. Wolf, how are we?
I'm a lot happier than I was 10 minutes ago when I saw Carl log in. That was good because she was actually at the game. She's got a lot more input than we have because I know she's been having internet issues. So well done for getting along, Car. Brian, as you know, Alan's apparently playing football and Laura's indisposed. So it was basically going to be you and me muddling through, but Carl's come in and saved the day. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. Not so happy about the Scottish Cup draw, but we'll touch on that.
We will do. We will do. Car, how's things? The internet back and running?
I'm on my phone using my data, so if it suddenly drops out, I've hit my limit. So that'll be why, if that's what happens. But it should be fine in theory. But yeah, I'm all right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, of course, yes, we are reacting to Rangers played Montrose women yesterday, and it was Rangers 10, Montrose 2. I suppose, Car, not a totally unsurprising scoreline.
I mean, the 2 was not ideal, but the 10 was about where we probably expected. Montrose are usually a team that we score a lot of goals against, so we pretty much expected that. A few changes in the lineup, which raised a few eyebrows before the game, but we settled in and it worked out quite well.
Absolutely. And Wolf, as we'll speak on later on, clashes with the men and the women is looking as though it's going to be happening a bit more frequently in the future.
Well, there's not really a lot you can do when cup games are concerned. I mean, touching on that, this weekend Rangers have done us a good turn because they've managed to negotiate with Motherwell that the League Cup quarter final is on Saturday night. It was originally slated for Sunday afternoon, which would obviously cause a bit of an issue with that game at Ibrox at 5 o'clock. So fair play to the two clubs for sorting that out. The game's actually at K Park on Saturday at quarter to 8, so people can make both that and the men's game at Ibrox. Scottish Cup, if it goes to the date it's supposed to, the 8th of December, the men's first team are at Dingwall at lunchtime. So unless they play the game against Westdyke up here at 5 o'clock, I've got no chance of doing both. But that's just it's the perils of cup football, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, really, for there not to be a clash, we had to either draw Inverness or Elgin away. You know what I mean? So it's narrowing it down. Out of 30 teams, that's quite a narrow window. Can't have everything. Yesterday was unavoidable again because the men's team were in a cup semi-final.
Yeah. So
that's one of them that you can't really blame anybody for that. It's when the league games clash. That's a bit that to me that's always avoidable. Yeah. But it is what it is.
Absolutely. And of course, Car, the news broke at just after 6 o'clock. The Scottish Cup draw was made, and we drew Westdyke, who I believe are from West Hill near Aberdeen. So, as Wolf just said, that would have been a nice little walk to West Hill for him, but unfortunately he can't go. But how do you react to that tie?
I mean, the distance is a bit annoying, but that was kind of going to be the way. It's better than Elgin, I suppose. It's not really much difference in it, really, when you think about it. But it's a lower league team. I actually don't know if they're in the Championship or if they're in the East or whatever the league is. I don't really know where they sit, to be honest. So it's another team that are pretty low down compared to us, so it should be a team that we score a fair few goals against. It's just a travel, it's a bit annoying, but it happens.
Absolutely. And Wolf, how did you, unfortunately for you?
I think, sorry, Brian, from what I looked at, I think they're in the Championship. They beat Hutchie 10-0 in the last round.
Okay.
So, they know how to score goals. As I said before we went live, knowing what I know about the park, and I didn't even know they played in West Hilton with Rhythm when I had a look. I actually thought it was Stonehaven. But I think it's basically a public park they play on, so it wouldn't at all surprise me if they move it. Which means they would probably move it to Cove, which is where Aberdeen play their home games. That would make sense because at least they can get, they can get people in, they can charge for it and all that, and it'd be also slightly easier for you to get to.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, with AWPR, it was much and such the same. They could even play it at Aberdeen's training ground because that's on the edge of West Hill. So they could even move it to Cormac Park, which would be a novelty.
Absolutely. And we have a new member, and I believe it is our very own Rabbles Kieran that's been a new member. I don't know if he made a mistake or if there was a problem, but welcome along, Kieran. And he'll be on, I believe he's on later on, I think. I can't remember. But straight to the game, Car. The team lineup was Fife in goals with Docherty, Rafferty, and Middag. They then had a midfield of Devlin, Lefay, McLean, McLaughlin, McCleary with Hardy and Wilkinson up front. What did you make of that starting lineup?
Well, it was a 4-4-2, and Jodie was in right back position alongside Tess and Rath, which is the thing that raised the most eyebrows. And while we have been crying out for a back four, it was a bit of a bizarre choice from Joe, but it worked out actually. And Jodie's not bad as a right back, so maybe that's what we're training her up to be, to give her more game time. But yeah, Camille and Charlie in the midfield again raised some eyebrows because we've not really seen them play together too much. But actually worked out quite well, so wasn't too bothered by it. I was just confused.
Well, for you, similar sort of ideas in the sense that McCleary would be a winger, but in fact she was a right back.
First of all I'll say is that you clearly don't listen to Karen, Laura's, and Alan's other podcasts, because they pointed out on that Jodie played at fullback, but that's. No, you not doing your homework again, Brian. That's terrible.
Well, to be fair, I had a long day yesterday, so
yeah. I mean, just for clarity, the only one of the three of us that was at the game yesterday was Carr, because myself and Brian were at Hampden. So
yes.
I mean, I saw the team lineup, and I was a bit confused as well about where everybody was going to be playing, because if effectively you've got really what have you got? You've got a fullback. You've got a centre half. You've got Tess, who plays sort of defensive midfield, sometimes at centre back, and the rest it's just, where's everybody playing? It seemed to be a very busy midfield for playing Montrose. But obviously, as Car explained on their podcast last night, it was made a lot more sense. Jodie played the other fullback position, so that makes a bit more sense. And if you're going to try something new, with the greatest of respect to Montrose is the sort of team you play it against, because if it doesn't work, you can change it quite quickly, and they probably aren't going to punish you too much about it.
Absolutely. And do you find, or did you think yesterday watching it, Car, that Jodie adapted very well to that new role?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't look out of place, to be fair to her. She held her own. Didn't get challenged all that much in the back line, so to speak. She was coming further forward and getting involved in tackles and stuff, but held her own pretty well. So it could be something that if we need to utilise her, we can use her there. And it's probably just a case of she's wanting more game time, so put her in there. I believe Kathy was just rested. She's not actually picked up a knock because she wasn't in the squad at all. So I think that was more just a case of giving her a rest, which a bit bizarre when she's being away with Scotland and not played any games. But, maybe big games coming up, I suppose. So yeah, Jodie didn't look out of place, held her own quite well.
That's good. That's good news. And Wolf, Kirsty McLean made a return to the team in the starting lineup and didn't take her long to open her account.
A bit of a tidy goal as well. I mean, any doing what any does. It was Charlie played the ball and there was a bit of a kind of, it wasn't really a stramash, the ball kind of bounced a bit about the edge of 6-yard box. Camille managed to get it back to Innie, and Innie stuck it past the keeper, and it was a really nice finish. Given it was quite congested in there, it was a really tidy finish. So yeah, it's nice to see Innie doing what Innie does.
Absolutely. And we have missed Kirsty, haven't we? Because she's very busy. She's very tidy on the ball. She never really gives away any slack passes, and she can score long shots as well.
I mean, she certainly can. We'll come on to that later on. She had another really good goal, but to start early is what we always say we want us to do. So to score within like a minute and a half of kicking off is pretty good. And she kind of just takes it on herself. As Camille kind of got the ball, but not really. She doesn't know much about it. And he just absolutely smashes it into the back of the net. Exactly what we want for her confidence. She looked pretty down after the Hibs game. I think that really knocked her a bit. So I think having this break and then coming back and scoring pretty much immediately is pretty good for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Ibrox 1965. My first Rangers women's game yesterday for £7. A good day out. Definitely be back. See, there you go, Car. That's the sort of messages you want, isn't it? And a good winning experience as well. And Wolf, Charlie Devlin got our opening goal for Rangers as well. Hardy did well. Well, I actually thought Hardy was going to cut it in the bottom corner, but it got deflected, and then Hardy passed it to Charlie Devlin, who another really good finish, left foot into the far corner.
Yeah, as we'll get on to as we go on, most of the goals were really, really good finishes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was nice. I mean, we've been quite critical of Charlie Devlin on here. We hadn't really seen what she'd done to, to get a start in some of the games that she started before the international break. But it would appear that obviously she wasn't away during the break, so it would appear the 2 weeks that she had at the training centre with the coaching staff seems to have done her the world of good. Whether she's settled in a bit better or she's, she commented when she interviewed after the game that it was a different mix of people there. So obviously they brought in, I'd imagine they brought in some of the kids to make up the numbers, because a lot of the players were away in international duty, stuff like that. They might even have had some of the coaches playing. I don't know what the mix would have been. They might have put some of the, some of the kind of boys teams in. I don't know what they did, but they could obviously mixed it up a little bit. You know what I mean? And she seems to have benefited from that because, okay, our goals. She ended up scoring a hat trick. Her goals were all good, and it would appear she had a very good game. All I've got to go on is the sort of 5 or 6 minute highlight package that I saw, but she seemed to be involved in absolutely everything.
Yeah, she certainly did. And Carr, not long after Hardy got her first of the afternoon, with the player we spoke about just before, crossed it in, and Hardy swept it into the far corner. It was a good cross, but the goalie fumbled it, didn't she?
Yeah, and you want Rio or Wilco or whoever to be in that area so that they can pounce on things like that if the goalie does make a mistake, which is what we've kind of been crying out for, because on occasions we've been too far away from the keeper at points. So for her to just be there and just kind of smash it past the keeper and the defender that's behind her and into the bottom corner is exactly what you want from Rio. And it'll do her confidence good, because I think she's kind of dipped a little bit. I think the whole squad had, to be honest. So I think the whole game yesterday will do everyone a world of good.
Absolutely. And I didn't realise Rio had her own song when she scored. So that was quite. I totally must have passed me by, or didn't hear it before. But no, it was nice to hear that the Rio song coming on after she scored. And then Wolf, the next one, a free kick, and Wilco was on the end of that this time.
Again, Charlie Devlin at the heart of it. Charlie put the free kick in, and Wilco doing what Wilco hasn't done a lot of recently, putting her head onto something, sticking it in the bottom corner, and terrific free kick. All it needed was somebody to meet it and just glance it in the general direction of the goal, which is exactly what she did, what Wilco did. And I think, touching on the fact that as Carl said, we've kind of been a bit off the boil recently. We've commented before the start of the season was really favourable towards us, and then we got sort of 3 or 4 what you would call the more difficult games on the bounce, and to come back off an international break and have Montrose at home, it's absolutely ideal, because you can try things, you can get a bit of confidence, you can get people scoring goals. Okay, we could have done without losing the 2 that we lost, as Carl touched on. Particularly when we lost them. You don't mind losing a goal if it's an absolute screamer, but we'll get to them. But yeah, I think it was an ideal game to come back to, and that 4th goal, just a typical header from Wilco, but the ball in from Charlie was just asking to get put in.
Absolutely. And then that 3 favourite words, Carl, penalties of Rangers. Charlie Devlin was breaking into the box, and I think she got clipped, didn't she? It was fair. It was a fair penalty.
Well, I think the defender actually hauls her down, because she grabs her by the shoulder a little bit and then she holds her hands up as if to say, "How's that a penalty?" She didn't make any attempt to play the ball and just absolutely hold her to the ground. Of course it's a penalty, but there's no need for her to do that. Charlie was away and running, so she really could have just left it and hoped that somebody else dealt with it. But anyway, we got the penalty. Rio takes it, which is interesting, when Wilco took the last one. So maybe they're going to alternate, and just whoever's on form or whoever gets the ball first, they'll take it. But dispatches it perfectly into the left-hand corner, and we're up and running. Well, we're far gone at that point, up and running. I'm saying we're 5-0 at that point.
Absolutely, yeah. And then Wolf, we were just speaking about her before, we're scoring goals from distance, and Kirsty McLean came out with another cracker.
And absolutely, if anybody hasn't watched the highlights, just Rangers TV, just go on the highlight, or even on the SWPL channel, they'll have the highlights as well. The 6th goal just before half time was an absolute perler. Liv plays the ball to Innie. She must be fully 25 yards out, and she doesn't just put her laces through it. She picks it at the top corner. This is a fabulous goal at any level of football by anybody. 25 yards to not actually just put your laces through it and try to take the net away, and if anything gets in the way, that's going as well. She absolutely just picked it at the top corner, and it went, and it was an absolute screamer. And it's great, as I've said earlier, it's great to see Innie doing what Innie does, but what a finish that was. That was top draw from, let's be honest, a top player.
Absolutely. Carr, I think, from your point of view, that's the sort of things that we've missed over the last wee while, isn't it? Somebody having a pop from distance, and Kirsty needs no invitation, does she?
No, and I mean the whole game, everyone was trying to take shots from distance, and that Jade McLaren for Montrose got on the end of one and was absolutely winded by I think it was Charlie actually, absolutely blurted the ball off her and she went down. But we were taking shots and Kirsty almost dinks it and it hits the underside of the crossbar and in from 25 yards out. That takes a lot of skill, as well says, to not just absolutely smash your laces through it and hope for the best. She's perfectly put that in the back of the net. Just unreal play from Kirsty and exactly what she'll need. And I think it'll give the whole team confidence to go and take more shots from distance then. They seem to have this thing about not wanting to do it. So maybe now they're starting to score a few goals from distance. So keep doing that and keep teams on their toes, as Joe said in our post-match interview, that they need to do that so we don't become complacent and teams know what we're going to do all the time.
Yeah, and it obviously stops, the low block doesn't come into the equation then, does it, if you're shooting from distance? So that's another issue that you can get by if you're shooting from distance. 6-0 at half-time. And Rangers didn't stop there, Wolf. Charlie Devlin got her second of the afternoon. It was a really good team goal, this one, actually. Good movement down the right. Hardy realised that she wasn't going to get her shot off, but she picked out Charlie Devlin in the box, and Charlie put it in the far left corner.
Yeah, I mean, this was 7 or 8 minutes into the second half, I think, from what I've gathered. After a couple of substitutions at half time, Leah Eddy came on for Raf, and me and Macaulay came on for Camille Lafay. From the reports I've read, I think Camille was a bit unlucky to get taken off because she's quite a decent first half. But I think, Joe just said after it was just giving players minutes, the game was done. Just to give some players some minutes. Carl, how did that mix up the team? Did the formation stay the same? Did they change it about with Leah going in for Raf, or did she go into centre back, or did they just push Test back, or how did they play that?
They kept changing like they usually do. Leah was coming up the wing at points and this was in centre back at points, so they're all just kind of moving about like they do most games, to be honest. But I couldn't actually pinpoint. Mia was on the wing. Mia was running up and down the wing as she does, but Leah was kind of just interchangeable. They're all kind of moving in and out. So I don't really know if it was specifically told go and do that, or if they're just kind of had the freedom to do that because they weren't really being tested too much at the back line, so they had that freedom to do that.
Yeah, I just wondered how that was, because obviously you can't the highlights you can't tell when, especially with 12 goals, so that we show that the highlights are just the goals more or less. But no, Brian, go back to that seventh goal. I mean, it was a really good team goal, as you say, realising that she couldn't, that Charlie was in a better position, and that was her second goal for Rangers, but she's going to get her third one very soon.
Correct. But before that, Wolf, Montrose got a goal. Now, the goalie sort of problems come back to haunt us as Carr just sits there and shakes her head. Jenna didn't really cover herself in glory here, did she?
No, I don't know what she's thinking about. I mean, there was suggestions on another podcast that I listened to about it that she was maybe unsighted. I don't see how that could even be in the equation the way the ball came in. I think she just made a mess of it. She maybe took her eye off it, and we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. It maybe bubbled in front of her. I don't really know, but she let it. I mean, to give Montrose a little bit of credit, the lassie that challenged Jenna for the ball that cut it back to her teammate that scored, she did really well to actually get it back to the girl that scored. I think the one that cut it back, I'm sure I saw they just re-signed her. I think they just re-signed her. I was quite taken aback because she's been round the houses quite a lot, but she's only 20. I was quite surprised. She seems to have she's back at Montrose after being at about 4 or 5 different clubs. But they said she was only 20. If it's the same player, I think it is, because it looked like her. But she did really well to get the ball back to her teammate, who finished it quite well, but it was a shocking goal to lose, because Jenna should have had that ball all day long. But I suppose you can forgive your goalkeeper a slight spill at 7-1, because she can't be doing an awful lot. But again, is it the concentration?
Could be. It could be. That's the danger when you play these sort of games, Carl, isn't it? You're cruising, you're winning by 6-7 goals, and all of a sudden you switch off and you lose a goal.
Yeah, I mean, she goes for the ball, and obviously she kind of gets it. It bobbles a bit, and then she stands up, but she's not really getting anywhere near it because the lassie just puts it in the back of the net. But not really what you want. She really should be able to stop that. That's a almost basic goalkeeping. You just wrap your hands around it and catch it, but for some reason it's just not worked. But she can forgive her for occasionally, but it seems to happen a lot more. But not as recently. Jenna has been player of the match the last couple of games prior to the international break. So we'll give her that one, but we'll come on to the other one.
Absolutely. And then both the two subs that came on, Lizzie Arnott and Jane Ross, combined for the 8th. Jane Ross getting back on the score sheet. Seems like an age since she last scored.
No, she's been out injured. She's hardly been in the team because she's been out injured. I mean, the triple substitution after 64 minutes, as you say, Lizzie coming on surprisingly for Liv McLaughlin, because Liv never ever gets taken off. So I mean, she probably needs the break because she was away internationally with England under 23s, and I believe she did quite well. She played it right back for them, I believe, which I think was quite strange. Somebody said she played it right back for them. I noticed she was wearing number 2 in the team photograph. I saw that on social media, which would indicate that she probably was playing it right back. But yeah, that was quite a surprise. But it was nice to see Liv getting a rest because she does put in an awful shift and gets an awful lot of minutes. Obviously, Kirsty Howitt coming on for Rio Hardy and Jane coming on for Wilco. And just before the 8th goal, and Charlie rattled one off the bar is another. Charlie Devlin involved in absolutely everything. She scored 3 goals. She won as a penalty. She rattled one off the bar. She set up a couple of them. I mean, what a day she had. You know what I mean? So if you're going to ask a player of the match, I don't think there's much of a contest. But yeah, great to see Jane back on the score sheet again, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. And the 9th came not far after that, Car. Good work in the box again from, I think it was Jane Ross on the left. I believe it was Kirsty Howitt that laid it off to Charlie Devlin, and Charlie Devlin hit a beautiful shot into the right-hand side of the goal to complete the hat-trick. Yeah,
I mean, she scores her first goal and then gets a hat-trick in the same game when she's been under quite a lot of criticism from, I say from everyone, but mainly from us, realistically. Jo's seen the vision. Jo knew what she could bring to us, but we couldn't see what she offered, but obviously she showed it there. But yeah, a really well-worked goal, and the finish on it was superb. But it's just absolutely unreal talent that she's obviously had in her locker and just hasn't been able to execute in the last few games. So nice that she got that. And I don't know if you saw the photo they put up of her with she's doing this and shushing. So maybe she has heard the criticism coming her way from us and is telling us to shush. And she shut us up because she did. She scored 3 goals. She had 2 assists, rattled one off the crossbar from a free kick. At one point, there was a flying back heel that nearly went in to get her 3rd goal before that went in. And they didn't include that in the highlights, which I'm very annoyed about because it was a wonderful bit of play and it just didn't go in, unfortunately. But she was everywhere. She was absolutely everywhere and was unreal yesterday. So well-deserved player of the match, and hopefully that continues. She's settled now and she keeps going.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And then number 10, Rolf, came not long after, and Tess Middag gave the ball to Innie. Innie then fed the ball through to Jane Ross, and Jane Ross, great finish into the far corner.
Yep, two things for me here. First of all, great to see Jane scoring again because that's what Jane's there to do. But nice to see Innie get 90 minutes as well. Yeah. Because she's not long back off a very serious injury. So it's nice to see her getting the minutes in her legs. I mean, like you say, Jo made the 2 half-time subs because she said, to give players a bit of game time. But nice to see she kept Innie out there because she could have been overprotective of her. You know what I mean? So she particularly because she's been away with Scotland as well. You know what I mean? So I think that's right. She was away with Scotland, wasn't she? Yeah, I think she was. Yeah, she was. Okay. Didn't think I dreamt that. So nice to see that Jo gave her 90 minutes because she needs it. She really needs the game time. But yeah, good ball from Innie into Jane. Nice to see Jane score. And then the score is not finished there, though.
Unfortunately not, and it wasn't the end that we were hoping for, Car. A free kick on the near side for Montrose. Now, should Jenna have come for this?
Well, she did, and that's the issue. She didn't get it. If you come for that ball, you have to win the ball. You either come for it and win it, or you have to stay further back, because it just takes a nick off someone's head who fires it into the back of the net. I mean, it's a great goal. Had we scored that, I would have been buzzing with it. So, to give Montrose some credit. But Jenna comes far too quickly, no reason to do that. Doesn't win the ball, and then there's obviously no one behind her to stop the goal. And it's the last minute, basically last kick of the ball, which is a bit frustrating for them to get a goal from that. Really need to do better goalie wise, but it probably means that Vic will be back in the next goal, the next game.
Vic will probably win the next game anyway, because we think she's probably the cup keeper and it's a cup game.
Oh,
So we're back in anyway. So
absolutely. So the end result was obviously Rangers 10, Montrose 2. So was anybody close to that prediction?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody had 2. Someone probably had 10, but I don't think anybody had us conceding 2.
I wouldn't have anybody with Montrose scoring 2 against us. Fair. I mean, fair play. I mean, they were both from mistakes by us, because I mean, Keith's saying here, Jenna came for the ball shouting, keep us. If you come, as Carl says, you're coming for it, you've got to get it. You have to get it, and she's nowhere near it. I mean, she's absolutely nowhere near it. But I mean, last knockings of the game's done. It's a bit disappointing that it's 10-2, not 10-1, but. I'll say if we lose the league by a goal, I'm coming back. That.
If we lose the league on goal difference, there's something far wrong. Put it that way. But as you say, Car, if you come for that, you've got to clear everything and make contact with the ball, and she didn't. So, but hopefully that as you say, we'll cut her some slack. It was a good win, a good performance, Car. Because obviously we've had a tough time recently. So it was nice to get a few goals and get some confidence back, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly what we wanted. We could have gone and scored 10 scrappy goals and been like, oh, that's fine. But the performance was much improved. Everybody seemed to be playing with a bit more freedom. I don't know if that was the 4-4-2 that gave them a bit more freedom. Nick nearly scored at one point, which was quite good to see. She took a shot from, I say distance, but she was up in the box and, was creating things. Everyone just seemed to be playing a lot more fluidity, just quick passing. Everyone knew where everyone was going to be. The passing through for Jane's second goal, we had that a couple of times where people were playing balls through like that and trying to get somebody on the end of it. Just unfortunately, we were offside a couple of times in the first half, so it didn't come off. But we're creating a lot of chances, which is exactly what you want. You want everybody's confidence up, especially going into the next few games. Cup game, fair enough, it's Motherwell, but it's one that we have to go and win. And then we've got a big month coming up. So exactly what you want for everyone, and hopefully that'll show Joe that you can play that way, and that'll keep, instead of being so rigid like Kirsty in behind the strikers, you can just play with 2 up top, and it works well, and she can just keep doing that, and she can use all her subs because she used all the subs.
Absolutely. As Carl just mentioned, we're in cup duty and we're away to Motherwell. Obviously, the couple of players that are loaned from us won't be able to play because of cup tide. So I take it that, from that sort of train of thought, you would think this should be quite a routine win for Rangers, would it? Is that fair?
Well, the fact that a couple of their regular players can't play is going to unsettle Motherwell, but they're going to know that, so they're going to be ready for it. It's going to be tough because there's no games that are absolute gimmies. Even getting into Montrose yesterday, you've got to be professional about your business and get the job done, particularly in a cup game. There's nothing to stop Motherwell sitting in, trying to hit us on the break, nicking a goal sitting in and see what happens. Yes, we should win quite handy, but you never know. The object of the exercise is winning against a cup tie. It doesn't matter if it's 1-0 or 10-2. Makes no difference as long as you win the game. 10-2 would be an awful lot better for my nerves than 1-0, to be fair. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's cup tie. It's at East Kilbride. It's at K Park East Kilbride on Saturday, 7:45. Cash at a gate, so you don't need to bother worrying about tickets like if anybody's at a loose end on Saturday night down East Kilbride way. Should be a decent enough game. Hopefully we win by a few. Put the pressure on the teams that are playing on the Sunday to get through. Be nice to be through on the Saturday night and know what's happening. Again, as I said at the start, it's tremendous that the clubs have managed to have it when supporters of both teams can go. Saturday night's ideal for both clubs. I don't know who Motherwell's men play on Saturday, but it certainly won't be Saturday night, so they'd obviously be able to go to the game as well. So yeah, I think that's really good, and a bit of joined up thinking for a change.
It makes a change. And Carl, how did you see that game going against Motherwell?
It'll obviously be a challenge. Motherwell have been a team that occasionally we come up against and struggle a little bit, but with them losing the players that they lost to Celtic over the summer, signing Laura Berry from us, Sophie Black, Mason, who can't play, I think that does benefit us. But they do have other players that can score goals, so we need to be wary of that. But time's gone by, we've always found a way past them. If they come out and play, it's cup games, so in theory they do need to come out and play. So if we get a couple of early goals, we'll be absolutely fine. But it just depends on the weather. It's not a bad place to play. The stadium's quite nice. Well, I say stadium, the place is quite nice, but it's cold. It's always bitterly cold there. And if it's raining, it's always coming at you sideways. So it's not an ideal place to play football, but it should be a lot better than Hibs was before the international break anyway.
Bit ropey, yeah. Well, sometimes. I've felt better, Donald, I must admit. But yes, so score prediction time, Wolf. What do you see the score being on Saturday?
I'll go for 7-0.
7-0. Car?
I'm just going to say 4-1. Us?
4-1?
7.
Well, I'll go 7. Half their team can't play, so I mean,
I'm going to go somewhere in between you. I'll go 6. I'll go 6. I'll go one shy of Wolf.
I don't care as long as we're in the hat for the semi-finals. I really don't care.
Absolutely. And I'm totally aware that Car is on her data, so I'm not wanting to eat too much into that.
And Cara, apparently he's been winning that this summer.
Well, so Broadwood, to be fair, so maybe it's just a Scottish women's football thing that every stadium they play at has to be absolutely better the whole year round.
There's a few big scores coming in, folks. Paul thinks 8. Teresa thinks 10. Mel saying 5. Yeah, I was thinking 5, but I went 6. But yeah, absolutely. So thank you for joining us, folks. As I say, I'm not wanting to keep us too long, obviously, because Car's data is getting eaten up as we speak. Her internet's not behaving itself. So, but thank you for Car to join us and using your data. Thank you.
That's all right.
And Paul, yes. Yeah, and Paul, yeah, you're quite correct. Jenna did play her 100th game, Wolf. Car, 100 games for Jenna?
Well, I think it was 102nd, but there's the closest home game to her 100th so they could present her with the top. But yeah, I thought she'd probably passed that already. I didn't really think she played a lot of games for us in the last few years, so you think, but also switched out. And then the year we won the league, Megan Cunningham got a few games, so we have kind of chopped and changed a few times. So yeah, good for her to hit 100. It's always good when any of them hit a milestone, and I'm sure there's a couple more coming up on 50 fairly soon. We were trying to work out of the game who was next, but couldn't really figure it out.
Yeah, Brian, it's nice that the club actually recognise it and give them the free jersey. Yeah. I think that's a really nice touch. I mean, we did touch last week on the fact Jenna had done 100 because the club announced it after the game she did it on. Talking about last week, 2 weeks ago, last time we were on. And as Carl says, this is the closest home game to it, But it's nice that they do it. It would be. I think it would be nice if they did it on the day they actually achieve it. But then they never know who's playing, so they can't really preempt it. Although they obviously know it's going to be coming. So, but it's nice that they recognise it, irrespective of when they do it. To be perfectly honest.
Absolutely. And Car, JD's giving you a bit of advice. Have you tried switching the router on and off?
I have. I bought a camera because I wanted to be all fancy. So I bought a webcam and Alan gave me a microphone and I was going to be all proper with it. And then for some reason my PC just won't connect to the router. I've unplugged it, I've taken it apart and I've played it and it just won't sort itself out. But I actually can't because my partner's working from home and their PC's working fine. But for some reason mine isn't. So I don't want to do that and then potentially mess that up and then cause havoc. So, yeah. So I'll do this and then I'll figure it out tomorrow. See what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, a pleasure as always, Will. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks again for coming on, Carl. You saved the day because we would have been doing it all for 6 minutes of highlights, which just show the goals. So I will see you on Saturday night in East Kilbride. And Brian, I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah, I'm working Saturday. It's just not my luck this month or this season. If it's a Sunday, then I'm fine. But Saturdays are hit and miss just now.
It's not your luck this season. I've got a game 5 miles from my house, and I'll not be here.
I know. You couldn't write it, could you? You just couldn't write it. But anyway, folks, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday.